Hi, my name is Sean Flaherty, and this is my presentation on depression and anxiety, daily battles in an undergraduate's life. To begin, let us look at the symptoms of both depression and anxiety to have a better foundation of knowledge for why college students are diagnosed. Symptoms of depression include feeling sad or helpless, loss of interest in activities, trouble focusing or making decisions, and suicidal thoughts, to name a few. As far as anxiety goes, many of these symptoms are similar to those of depression, including trouble focusing and gastrointestinal problems. Although the two are very similar, it is important to note that they are very different mental disorders. Why? A study done using Beck Hopeless Scale conducted research to weigh the hopelessness associated with undergraduate students around the world. This study showed that America was typically lower in other nations in hopelessness among undergraduate students, but has shown an increasing trend from 1978 to 2010. This begs the question to be asked, which is why? Why are college students suffering from both anxiety and depression when they are so privileged to be attending college? It is important to note that this is not just seasonal minuscule depression and anxiety attacks either. In a recent study done by American College Health Association, it was shown that 39% of all college students felt so depressed within the last 12 months that it was difficult to function, and in the same survey, 10% admitted to seriously considering suicide. A factor that is important to consider is the effects that students' peers have on them, especially among first-year students. A study being conducted to analyze the effects of peer pressure on first-year students was performed on a mid-sized private university in northeastern United States. And those who were tested who were already struggling with anxiety or depression, particularly freshman students, were more likely to be affected negatively by their peers in their first year of college. This study further elaborates that the higher anxiety and higher perceptions that peers drink heavily was associated with more drinks consumed and consequences, and higher depression and perceptions was associated with more drinks consumed. Other reasons for depression and anxiety in college students included relationship difficulties, homesickness, difficulty making hard decisions, and issues around sex and sexuality. Another applicable and up-to-date explanation can be found in society all around us, which is COVID-19. A recent study done on students attending Dartmouth College showed that depression and anxiety were very noticeable in week 10. Interestingly enough, week 10 is 1 week after the first case of COVID-19 was confirmed close to Dartmouth College. We can also see that compared to a normal semester, labeled as control terms on the graph, trends for week 10 typically show a decrease in both anxiety and depression levels in students. This is clear data that shows the effects of COVID-19 on college students and the obvious effects it has on their levels of depression and anxiety throughout the semester. So how can we help? Well, one way is education. Education provides a good way for peers, other students, and teachers to be able to spot the signs of these who are suffering from depression and anxiety to get the help they need. Continuing with education, another intervention strategy was self-reflection on the irrational things that were causing these feelings in an individual. My proposed intervention is to switch the focus from the whole university down to the individual student. To implement this, we could relocate money that is used on building more fast food restaurants in the academic buildings and hire a substantial amount of counselors that strictly focus on mental health in students. To further implement this strategy, a hold could be placed on each student's registrar until they meet with a counselor at least once before they start every semester. This service could be free of charge for 3 times a semester, which would include finals, midterms, and once in between. I believe this intervention can not only help students with anxiety and depression, but prove to them that they are not alone in college and that their administration cares about them and their mental health while attending their university.